Imagine walking into a store where every detail screams wealth, beauty, and exclusivity. Now, picture someone stepping inside who doesn't fit that polished image. Judging eyes follow her, and a quiet storm begins. What no one knows is that this ordinary-looking woman carries a story that will change everything. Before we begin, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. And don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories. The boutique was not just a store. It was a symbol of high class. White marble walls reflected soft light. Glass shelves held handbags and dresses that cost more than most people's rent. The air smelled of luxury perfumes, and a live string quartet played gentle music in the background. At the heart of this world was Helena, the manager. For over 10 years, she had been the guardian of the boutique's image. Tall, polished, and confident, she believed her job was not just to sell. In her mind, she was the protector of exclusivity. Helena's sharp eyes always scanned new visitors. She quickly judged who was a real client and who was simply there to look. To her, tourists and window shoppers were a waste of time. She often whispered to her staff, "They don't belong here. They ruin the experience." On a Tuesday morning, Helena was doing her usual inspection. Every display had to be perfect. Every crystal had to shine. That was when the door opened, and everything changed. A woman walked in quietly. She wore worn-out jeans, simple sneakers, and a loose gray sweatshirt with the word love printed on it. To Helena, the sight was disturbing. This woman looked nothing like her wealthy clients. She didn't wear luxury clothes. She didn't carry a designer bag. She didn't even look nervous, which irritated Helena more. Helena muttered under her breath, "Who let someone like that in?" But the woman did not notice. She walked with calm steps, gently touching displays. She looked at the dresses with curiosity, not greed. She seemed at peace, almost like she belonged, even though her outfit said otherwise. Helena decided this was her job to fix. Straightening her blazer, she walked toward the woman. Her heels clicked against the marble floor, a sound of power. When Helena reached her, she put on her famous cold smile. "May I help you?" she asked. The woman looked up. Her smile was soft. Her voice was calm. "Just browsing." Helena crossed her arms, tilting her head. "This boutique is about exclusivity. We create a very refined experience. It's important to keep it that way." The woman's expression didn't change. Instead, she asked gently, "So, exclusivity is something you measure by appearance?" Helena frowned. "It's about the right environment. Good taste, elegance, understanding what luxury really means." The woman laughed softly, almost kindly. "That sounds like a lot of work, just to buy a dress." Helena felt her irritation growing. She adjusted her hair, her tone sharp. "These are not just dresses. They are couture creations. They represent a lifestyle, something not everyone can appreciate." The woman smiled again, unshaken. "And you decide who is allowed to appreciate them, don't you?" For the first time, Helena felt uneasy. This woman's calmness was unsettling. Before Helena could speak again, the boutique's glass doors opened. A hush fell across the room. Conversation stopped. Even the music seemed quieter. Customers and staff all turned to see who had entered. It was Keanu Reeves. He walked in dressed simply, but with an aura of calm confidence that filled the space. He smiled gently as his eyes searched the boutique. Within seconds, his gaze landed on the woman in the gray sweatshirt. "Ah, there you are," he said warmly. His voice carried affection, not just recognition. The boutique froze. Staff members exchanged stunned glances. Customers whispered among themselves. Helena's mouth went dry. Keanu walked straight to the woman and slipped his arm around hers. "Everyone, meet Alexandra Grant," he said. "She is my partner." Helena blinked, stunned. Her mind raced. Alexandra Grant. The name echoed inside her head. This wasn't just any woman. This was the artist, the philanthropist, and, most importantly, Keanu Reeves' girlfriend. Helena felt her confidence crumble. She had just tried to push out the partner of one of the most respected actors in the world. Keanu's warm smile lingered, but his eyes told another story. They were sharp, serious and questioning. "Was there a problem here?" he asked. His voice was calm, but carried a weight that made Helena's knees weak. Helena stumbled over her words. "No, sir, of course not. I was simply assisting Miss Grant," Alexandra chuckled softly. Her laughter wasn't cruel. It was gentle, but it carried meaning. "Oh, she was being very attentive," Alexandra said, glancing at Keanu with knowing eyes. Helena felt the ground beneath her feet tremble. She tried to recover. "We always aim to provide the best possible experience." Keanu tilted his head. His voice softened, but his words cut deep. "Interesting, because it seems the judgment came before the service. Am I wrong?" Helena's mouth opened, but no words came out. He was right. She knew it. Everyone in the boutique knew it. Silence filled the air, heavier than marble walls. Alexandra finally spoke. Her voice was calm, steady, and full of quiet power. "It's curious," she said, "how exclusivity can be measured in such subjective ways." Keanu squeezed her hand gently, then looked back at Helena. His smile remained, but his tone turned cold. "What a mistake." "A big one." The silence didn't last long. From one corner of the boutique, a customer whispered to her friend, "Did you see that?" They almost turned away Keanu Reeves' girlfriend. Another muttered softly, "I was going to buy something today. But after this, I'm not sure I want to." The staff, who had been frozen in place, exchanged nervous looks. No one dared to move. They all knew what had just happened would follow the boutique like a shadow. Helena stood stiff, her face pale. For the first time in her career, her authority slipped through her fingers. She wanted to defend herself, but she knew any word would only make it worse. Keanu looked around the boutique, then back at Helena. His words were quiet, but sharp enough to pierce her pride. "We won't be buying anything today. We wouldn't want to disturb the exclusive atmosphere." He held Alexandra's hand, and together they walked toward the exit. Alexandra, still calm, gave Helena one last smile. It wasn't cruel. It wasn't smug. It was the smile of someone who understood, but would never forget. "Thank you for your attention, Helena," she said softly. It was enlightening. The doors closed behind them. The air inside the boutique felt heavy, almost suffocating. As soon as they left, murmurs spread like wildfire. Some customers quietly slipped out, shaking their heads. One even approached Helena directly. "I was ready to buy that watch," he said firmly. "But if service here depends on clothes, maybe I should spend my money somewhere else." His words cut deeper than any insult. Helena tried to stand tall, but inside, she was crumbling. She returned to her office, her phone buzzing in her pocket. A message appeared from a friend. "Just saw Keanu Reeves walk out of your boutique. People are already talking about it online." Her heart sank. Later that day, the boutique's owner called. His voice was stern. "Helena, do you understand what's at stake? This is not just about one mistake. It's about the reputation of the entire brand. Fix this now." Helena ended the call with trembling hands. For years, she had believed exclusivity meant guarding the gates, deciding who belonged and who did not. But now, that belief was breaking apart before her eyes. Alone in her office, Helena opened a drawer and found an old photograph. It showed her younger self, standing outside a luxury boutique. Back then, she was wearing simple clothes, jeans, a plain shirt, and cheap shoes. She had dreamed of stepping inside one day. Tears welled in her eyes. "When did I forget who I was?" she whispered. For the first time, Helena realized her mistake wasn't just about Alexandra or Keanu. It was about losing touch with humanity. With kindness, with respect. The very next morning, Helena gathered her entire team in the meeting room. Her voice was softer than usual. Not sharp, not commanding. "Yesterday," she began, "was one of the hardest days of my career. And it was my fault." The staff looked at one another in surprise. It wasn't like Helena to admit mistakes. "I always believed our role was to protect exclusivity," she continued, "to guard the brand's image. But in doing so, I forgot something more important. Respect." Her eyes moved across the room. "I failed to show it. to someone who deserved it as much as anyone else. For the first time, the staff saw Helena not as a flawless manager, but as a human being willing to learn. That day marked a change. In the weeks that followed, the boutique transformed. The staff went through new training. Not about selling more, but about seeing people first, greeting every visitor with warmth no matter how they dressed. Helena herself led by example. She no longer whispered judgments to her team. Instead, she reminded them, luxury is not about shutting people out. It's about making every person feel valued. The boutique even changed its appearance. Near the entrance, a new mural appeared with bold words. Luxury is a state of mind, not an appearance. For Helena, this wasn't just decoration. It was her new philosophy, born from her mistake. One evening, after the boutique closed, Helena sat in her office. On her desk sat the old photograph of her younger self, standing outside a store she once dreamed of entering. Next to it was a printout of Alexandra Grant's words from that unforgettable day. It's curious how exclusivity can be measured in such subjective ways. Helena smiled faintly. Not the proud, cold smile she once wore, but a humble, genuine one. She realized she hadn't lost everything. She had gained a lesson, one that would guide her for the rest of her life. From then on, Helena often told her team, true luxury is not in what we own, but in the connections we create. Customers began to notice the change. Some even returned, saying, it feels different here now, warmer, kinder. Helena no longer saw herself as a gatekeeper. She saw herself as a host, welcoming, not judging. And every time she looked at the mural, every time she remembered Alexandra's calm smile and Keanu's piercing words, she carried the same thought. Never judge someone by what you see on the outside. You never know who they truly are or the story they carry.